Time is an enigma, a force both fleeting and infinite. It governs existence, yet remains intangible, measured by clocks, felt in moments, and lost in distractions. We ask, what is time? Is it merely a sequence of events marked by past, present, and future, or something more profound? Some say time is a construct of the mind, a way to make sense of change, while others argue it is an absolute, an unrelenting current that carries all things toward their inevitable end. Regardless of its definition, time exists in the tension between urgency and eternity, between the ticking of a second and the stretch of a lifetime. If time is a resource, then the question becomes, how much do we have? The answer is both clear and unknowable. We measure it in years, hours, and minutes, but no one truly knows the length of their own time. Some squander it, believing themselves to be far from the end, while others grip it tightly, aware that every moment matters. To ask whether time is up is to acknowledge its limits, to recognize that there is always an end, whether near or distant. It is the question that haunts ambition, fuels regret, and ignites urgency. Yet, are we approaching the final hour, or is there still space between now and the end? To be closer to the expiration of time is to feel its weight, to sense the approaching conclusion of something once thought endless. But distance is deceptive. Some believe they have time until it vanishes, sudden and unannounced. Others live as though they are near the end, only to find they had years left unspent. The perception of time is personal. Some stand at the edge, peering down, while others walk with casual steps, unaware of the approaching cliff. Perhaps time is not merely running out, but crumbling beneath us. Imagine a clock, not ticking down from the top, but dissolving from the bottom, its foundation eroding while we remain unaware. If time is crumbling, then the end does not come with a final chime, but with a sudden collapse. We do not see time disappearing in neat, predictable increments. Rather, it slips through the cracks, vanishing before we can measure what remains. The illusion of permanence fades, and all that seemed certain dissolves into what was. So, is time up? Or are we simply living under the illusion that we understand it at all? Whether we are near the end or far from it, whether time ticks down in order or crumbles without warning, the truth remains. We are always losing time, even as we live it. The only certainty about time is that it moves forward, indifferent to our desires, unstoppable in its course. And yet, within its fleeting nature, we find meaning, not in measuring how much is left, but in how we choose to spend what remains. Time's power is not just in its passing but in its ability to shape our choices, to remind us that every second matters. If we knew exactly when our time would be up, would we live differently? Would we hold on to moments longer, love harder, chase our dreams with more urgency? Or would we crumble under the weight of that knowledge, paralyzed by the inevitability of the end? Perhaps the secret to time is not in controlling it, but in surrendering to it, letting it flow while we make the most of each fleeting moment. Because in the end, time is not something we own, but something we experience, and how we experience it is the only thing that truly matters.